Deep-rooted experience in serving both foreign and domestic automobiles allows for proper diagnosis in a timely manner. Check them out online at autorepairsmyrna.com, call them at 615-220-0971, or stop on in at 1205 Hazelwood Drive in Smyrna.
Hey, Middle Tennessee, it's Mark from the Safe House. And now the security riddle of the day. What's less secure than a fake safe from a big box or furniture store? Joe Biden's fake border policy, of course. But hey, there is good news. This time next year, Joe Biden will not be president. So drop by the Safe House and check out the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. Build a wall around your valuables with a safe from the Safe House. We have certified delivery crews to deliver and install your safe. Don't let a crackhead or illegal deliver your safe. With over 30 years in the safe business, the Safe House is the place to buy a safe in Tennessee. So go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com.
AFFI is Middle Tennessee's premier choice for pest, wildlife, and moisture control. They specialize in those difficult and unique cases. You can reach them by phone at 615-300-2395. That's 615-300-2395. Or stop in at 200 Glenrose Lane in Smyrna.
We're back. Rutherford Magazine show. I'm your host, Mike Sparks, talking education, talking American Classical Academy that's coming to Laverne. And I think we've got a school board member on hold. Does she call back? Tammy Sharp, I think she's going to call in. Philip, what better location could you have picked than Laverne, Tennessee?
Well, it's the first building that I saw that I immediately was, I want this building. I could do school in this right away. So I don't know they can get better.
Yes.
And there's two pieces there. One, it's a fantastic building. But two, part of the early discussions with Rutherford County was, hey, do you think you could get a building in like the Laverne, Smyrna area?
Yeah.
And we've done that.
Yes.
And there's a lot of interest from the community in
Kudos.
both Laverne and Smyrna.
Kudos to
as
you
well
for
as
that.
Murfreesboro. But
yes.
no, I love the building, and it's large enough. I mean, it's 100,000 square feet that we can grow into its entirety there, not just the K-5, but when it becomes a K-12, we can have it all on the same grounds.
Wow.
Including not just the building, but there's a lot of space. So if you can imagine fields and gyms and all the extracurriculars.
How many acres is that site?
I don't have that. I think it's a lot. It's big enough that I can do school on. That's how I'd put it.
Okay.
I know the building is 100,000 square feet, but if you've ever seen the building, the parking lot I think it parks over 200 cars. So it kind of gives you an idea of how large, and then there's space behind it. So for an educator like me, when I start imagining like fields, soccer fields and basketball courts, and it can all be there.
So you had that vision.
Well, I think that things end up as they're supposed to be. I wouldn't claim the vision as my own, but I think that we are very blessed to have the building where we are, and I think it allows families to have access to it pretty easily. I mean, it's within 5 minutes of the 24, so if you're anywhere in Rutherford County, you can get there quite easly, and it's a secure space. I mean,
You
parents
get there
have
quicker than 5 minutes. I promise.
I haven't tried it. I haven't tried to go flying through the lights.
Yeah, probably 2 minutes without the light there. Yeah, I think we've got school board member Tammy Sharp. Tammy, you there?
I am here.
Hey, thanks for calling in. Tell us a little about American Classical Education, the new school. I know you're excited about it.
Yes. I'm completely excited. It's in my zone. Hello, Pastor Brenda and Mr. Swank. Good to see you guys. I'm watching on my laptop.
Likewise.
I am so excited, and I know there are others that are excited as well, because we are at capacity, over capacity, full beyond measure up here on the north end. And this is a beautiful building. I mean, we probably couldn't have asked for a better building.
Yes,
Agreed.
I mean, I'm excited. It's at Dead Center in Laverne and all that industry over there. And I know you've heard from parents who are excited. What are parents telling you, Tammy?
Well, there's always a small percentage of parents that want their children in a smaller school. And, this is a great opportunity for them.
Oh, it really is. That smaller, well, expand on that, smaller classroom size and why that matters.
Well, I think they still have to go by the regulations that the other schools go by. But a lot of what I hear from Holloway, the students that go to Holloway,
yes,
They love the smaller community. Of course, there's not as many bells and whistles, but they love the smaller community. There are fewer behavioral problems. They feel like they're part of a family. And this is really going to be like a free private school for our students on the North End.
Yes, it reminds me, when I've toured Smyrna West Alternative School, we've done several radio programs from over there, and I talked to the students in the classroom, and many of the students that I talked to would excel there, and they were kind of excited, even though they're supposed to be, in a way, punished. They liked the school, and that's what they said, the smaller environment there, smaller learning environment. Now, how many Title I schools do you have in your entire school zone district?
Just in my zone alone, I've got about 11 of them.
Wow, really?
When they redistricted, so most of them are on the North End. We have two on the South Murfreesboro, Whitworth, Buchanan, and Christiana Elementary School. And Laverne High School is the only Title I high school. So it's much needed on this end to have some more space, have some other choices for our parents, and I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled with this location.
Well, I'm looking at Philip. He didn't have the headphones on. I was like, "You want to chime in?" And I was like, "Put the headphones on, man." I'm sorry, I should have told you that earlier on. Tammy, on the Title I schools, I know that the school board has been challenged with the growth. County Commission has been challenged with the growth, trying to pay for it. Going back on the Holloway, I've known students that have went there, and they've echoed your same sentiments. So my oldest boy put himself through night school at Holloway to graduate early, thus freeing up a seat, and he enjoyed it up there. He also enjoyed Smyrna High. He just was ready to get into a college. But y'all have had so much challenges with the explosive growth, and just Friday I was leaving my own house to go to the Chamber Capital Connection, and I went to Smyrna Primary, David Jury, Smyrna West, Smyrna Middle School, which Smyrna High School was the middle school now was our high school. And it took me longer just to get out of my own driveway to I-24 than it did from I-24 to get to the Chamber, believe it or not. It was so packed.
I believe it because, where I live. I live right off of Waldron Road. And traffic in Murfreesboro and Rutherford County has become a big issue. And one of the things that I have been pretty much yelling about for the last 3 or 4 years is that Arbortown is on the west side of the interstate on Waldron Road. And they're about to have about 11,000 units come in over there. So that's 11,000.
Wow.
It could be apartments, it's townhomes, and single homes.
Yes.
That's coming in over there. They broke ground. I've been trying to get over there and get some pictures, but it's pretty muddy over there.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a huge neighborhood. And we've already expanded Rock Springs once. And, they're probably getting pretty close to capacity again.
Yes. 2 weeks ago I had a good friend of mine we went to high school together, Danny Tollison, and he's got a successful company, Turner Security, and in fact he's the one that put in the security system here, the little cameras and the doorbell and all. And Danny and I was telling him on the air, I said, when you see all these apartments going in, you see all this traffic, what do you see? Because he grew up in Smyrna, in Rutherford County, and he's like, man, I see opportunity and job growth, this and that. I said, man, I see impact on education, impact on our
Right.
infrastructure, impact to the taxpayers. And, I don't know. People may get mad at me saying this live on the air, but I think we're just growing way too fast. And I do think this is a relief valve. And I know you've said that, Tammy, and other school board members have said that this could offer a little bit of a relief valve for the growing district that y'all are faced with.
There it is, and there are still some naysayers, but I think it's going to be a great opportunity. Look, they saved us probably $60 to $80 million
Wow.
by having this building, because they're telling us that's what it's costing to buy and build I mean, we just spent, $7 million on the Beatty property. Now we've got to
Yes.
fund the elementary. So this is saving us millions of dollars. And look, if it's not your thing, then stay where you are.
Amen to that.
If it's
Yes.
something, that a parent wants, then go sign up.
Yep.
This is, it's volunteer. It's a free charter school in this area.
Yeah.
I've looked at the curriculum. I don't even know if I can pass some of it. I'm just going to be honest.
Oh, hey, you and me both.
It's kind of it's not a secret that I graduated from Memphis City Schools, but I don't talk
Well,
about it a lot.
Brenda, look at Brenda. She's
I'm
smiling.
a Memphis City School
She's
graduate
Memphis City.
myself.
Well, Marvin,
Oh,
my
Memphis,
former
I never
assistant.
attended Spirits.
Yeah, he was down there, But I think this is a good example, and I know we've got some county commissioners that are listening. I think they're excited as well because they don't want to have to raise taxes, and I know it's a hard job. I've been there. I've sat in their shoes. But one thing about the marketplace of ideas, where we have solutions, our forefathers bitterly argued, but they had solutions at the end of the day. Today, when you just have one option, which is not even an option if it's just one choice, you don't have that marketplace. You don't have that competition. And I had a mentor, Philip, that was a guy's name was Bob Spivey. The Lord brought him into my life. He developed a lot of Smyrna. He owned Starbucks, Chili's, all the hotels, O'Charlie's. He developed all that. And he told me, he said, I'm going to bring a college to Smyrna. And I didn't really believe him. I mean, I like to believe him, but I didn't really believe him. Bring a college to Smyrna, and that guy made it happen. Motlow Community College. Now we've got, I forgot, Tammy, maybe correct me how many square feet, and we got the new third-story building. That would probably be $60 million if you had to build today, maybe 70. But it's a choice. And the good thing, if Laverne opens up that road, Tammy, maybe you could plug that. Those students could walk from all that development over there, all those apartments. Those students could walk over there. But Tammy, I appreciate your advocacy, and you're never going to make everybody happy, whether you're a school board member, county commissioner, state representative, road board member,
Right.
or whatever. But I would say there's been more support than naysayers, hasn't there?
I think now that they're seeing financially that this is a financial issue, it's not an indictment on our teachers and our public school system, because obviously we have a very good school system. Our people would be
There's no doubt.
flocking here, by the dozens and, by the thousands from May to August. It's not an indictment on our teachers. It's not saying anything about this. This is a financial issue.
Yes.
We cannot tax our Rutherford Countyans enough to build enough schools. We just can't. We need 10 more schools. And,
Yes.
people get the vapors when you start talking about how many we really need. But I want to say it every chance I get so they can get it, so they get it, so they're going, oh, we've got more schools to do. We've got to look at more ways. And it's just like homelessness. You and I both have worked in the homelessness arena. There's not one red pill to swallow.
Yes.
There's not one red pill to take that's going to cure it all, because there's mental issues. There's, there's just different issues that they have that one thing is not going to take care of it. And that's the thing about our area and our system. It's easy to get into housing here in Rutherford County. That's one of the reasons the impact fee would have been really good for our county. It's not the one thing that's going to do everything, but we've got to have a group of things coming in and going into the pot.
Yes. Well, the mental health aspect is been a big issue for you and myself and other school board members. And I've often quoted, I wanted Philip to hear this because he mentioned the whole child, and kudos to you for saying that, because not many people mention the whole child. And and Tammy's heard me mention this letter. I've said this to the General Assembly for I don't know how many times. But here we had a opioid mental health town hall at my church. Parkway Baptist hosted it about 3 years ago, and I asked the school superintendent of Murfreesboro City Schools. Now, this woman knew more about education than any lawmaker, and I've challenged my lawmakers. You put your lawmaker up against Dr. Linda Gilbert, 50-year educator with a doctorate degree. You may not agree with her politically or whatever, but you got to agree with it. She had 50 years experience. But here's this letter. I just said, tell me what the silver bullet is. Like, what is the silver bullet? You know, whether it's silver bullet for marriage, silver bullet for keeping your car maintained. What is the main thing? If there's one thing you could do, here's this letter. And she says, "Good evening. I apologize for the delay in responding." She said, "Please thank Representative Sparks for reaching out. Yes, more funding for counselors would certainly help with the social emotional issues we're seeing. Another area are counselors and social workers that are vital in many school districts are not able to fund them. She also think it would be helpful," she said, she goes on to say, for me and other legislators to talk with school superintendents about the issues we're seeing in very young children. Now, here's something that's very alarming that we all should be alarmed about. She says the behaviors of our 6 to 9-year-olds are like nothing we have ever seen before. They are disorderly, disruptive, and aggressive, and while we're bringing all our resources into play, there's no place for these children to be assessed and treated. I feel very good about the Department of Education, what they're trying to do to accomplish in the area with the emphasis on the whole child, not part of the child, not a fraction of the child, but the whole child. She said, "I'm hopeful that the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse will work alongside with them to address upper tier children for whom there seems to be no answers." Thanks again, Dr. Linda Gilbert.
Yes, she was great and she was well missed. Let me speak
Let me
to
tell
that
Philip real
because-
quick. Philip, guess what happened after she wrote me this letter? About 2 weeks later, she passed away.
Oh.
So if she was alive today, I think she'd say, "Mike, I want you to share that letter. Mike, I want you to tell people. Mike, I want you to sound the alarm." Go ahead, Tammy.
You may or may not know, because this was just a recent vote on Thursday night, but, we did a rezoning from the Smyrna primary or the annex to the Roy Waldron annex and shifted everything a little bit east toward Roy Waldron and get everyone in the same building toward John Coleman and Laverne Lakes. So everybody's just in one building. We are going to repurpose what used to be Laverne primary and the Roy Waldron annex. Yeah. We're going to repurpose that for some of our special need autistic behavioral students. There's only about 20 of them. We're not moving all of our autistic students to this one building. We just are going to move the top ones that need the most independent, featured, targeted help. So, and it's the elementary. So that way, if we can catch some of the behaviors when they're younger, and it will help. We're hoping to see it start young and then sending them through the rest of the school. Of course, we're going to do other things with that building. That's not going to be the only thing that's there. It's going to be much like a community center. We did vote Thursday night to name it Simon Springs Community School after Bob Simon.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you know him or not. But
I didn't know him. No,
he was wonderful in the community. I didn't know him. I knew of him. I didn't know him. But it's going to be wonderful for the north end, and it's going to help out a lot.
Well, the park is right there. That would fit it well. I know. Speaking of parks, the Sharp Springs Park right there at John Coleman. I mean that's. My wife attended that school. My oldest boy went there for a couple of years. We were zoned at that school at one time, and kudos to the school board and the former school board and former school director. I guess it was under Harry Gill, and maybe Don Odom for the investment in that school. But a beautiful park over at Sharp Springs. But y'all are faced with a lot of challenges dealing with behavior problems. I mean, I just had a text from a teacher a couple of days ago. In fact, I'll try to find it. And this teacher goes on to tell me about a student that was showing some of her, this is what she said, some of her, I want to quote it just right so I don't have anything. I must have deleted it. Anyway, she was mentioning how she just said that teachers are being abused by students. I mean, this is what she said. I mean, she used the term beating up, and it's hard to believe this is happening.
Yeah, it does happen. We do have a lot of on-the-job injuries. A few years ago, back when Lisa Moore was on the school board, they were looking at the insurance policies and how much our on-the-job injuries were costing and everything. And that's not a report that we get. We could ask for it, but it's not a report that the insurance people give us. But that was a lot of the problem. with the behavioral with teachers. So I think it's going to be great. I think with us shifting all the other schools over, that's going to give us some opportunity for students at Rock Springs Elementary, some students at Stewart's Creek Elementary too, because there's a way that you can come over Blair and come the back road by Target and BJ's to get to ACAR. And it's a lot easier than going Waldron Road, actually.
Yes.
But I'm hoping that we're going to see some students from the west side of the interstate, from the Waldron Road, Sam Ridley area, come over to ACAR and join.
Yes, that road right there where BJ's is, I'm traveling that almost daily, and I see that traffic backed up there. Anybody that travels it sees how backed up it is. Waldron Road gets backed up. I think just the other day the interstate system was literally shut down. Then 40 was shut down. I think they had a couple of motorcycle accidents, and I know the state's trying to address it with the choice lanes. It'll be a few years down the road, but I think they're still needing. And I think it was another $30 billion investment in transportation. I was talking to the chairman of the commissioner of a TDOT, Commissioner Butch Ely, and just the needs out there is just overwhelming, especially overwhelming with all this growth. And there's an old adage that we used to hear growing up, says where California goes, so goes the nation. And I never liked that, and we certainly don't like it today. But I know that y'all are challenged with just trying to find solutions, and I do think that this American Classical Education School would be one of those tools in a toolbox.
Yeah, well, I'm totally excited about it.
Well, Tammy, thanks. Thanks. Anything else before we take a break?
Nothing that I can think of. TCAP is coming up. The schools are out tomorrow because of the eclipse, of course, but TCAP starts on the 15th through the week. So we're just about finished with the education or instruction part of the school year, and then it's TCAP.
Yes. Well, thank you for your service and our other school board members' willingness to serve, willingness to take the criticism and the arrows that sometimes you take and I take and our county commissioners take. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Thank you so much, Tammy.
That's right. Thank you, Miss Brenda. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Tammy. Good to hear you.
We appreciate you.
Let's take a quick break.
Mike. Have a good
Thank
one.
you. We'll be
All
right
right,
back.
you be blessed.
Most people know that their insurance can provide them with coverage for the many life's mishaps. But I can help you also unlock discounts, save money, and get benefits with Farmers Insurance Policy Perks. Whether we're discussing home or auto insurance, I am here to help you understand these great perks. Call me, Mark Lewis, at 615-625-7070 for a quote, and you can get a whole lot of something with Farmers Policy Perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available select Farmers branded policies underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate.
My wife and I enjoy going by Yard Sale Inc. We usually go to both locations, the one in Smyrna as well as the one in Murfreesboro. A lot of times on Saturday mornings we stop by, and their inventory changes weekly, so you never know what you're going to see, and it's mostly open box. The name fits it. It's exactly that. It's a yard sale. If you don't totally agree with the price, the staff is always friendly and nice and willing to work with you.
That's the Yard Sale Store in Smyrna at 111 Enon Springs Road West, in Murfreesboro at 204 South Front Street, and online at bestdealintown.com.
Hi, this is Allie Dowenhauer with Isaiah 117 House. Isaiah 117 House provides physical and emotional support for children awaiting foster care placement here in Rutherford County. We are changing the way foster care begins, and those kiddos are brought to our house to hang out and wait for a foster family, and they're given everything they need. We support foster children, DCS, and foster families here in Rutherford County. Visit us at www.isaiah117house.com or visit our Facebook page, Isaiah 117 House, Rutherford County.
Hey, we're back. Rutherford Magazine Show. I'm your host, Mike Sparks, talking about a new school coming to Laverne. And a lot of excitement out there. American Classic Academy. Got Philip Schwenk. Is it Schwenk? Is that right?
Yes, that's
Schwenk,
correct.
okay.
Yep.
Pastor Brenda Bryant. Philip, you didn't know, Brenda's church. I hope she didn't look at it. Don't be rolling your eyes. Her church burned down about, 6 or 7 years ago?
Yeah, that was a very traumatic time for me.
Get close to the microphone. Don't be scared.
I'm not scared.
Okay,
I'm
all
just saying that was a very traumatic time for the ministry. Building burnt down. Actually, my building burnt down one
Yep.
year. My husband caught cancer the second year.
Yep.
The next year he passed. So it's been like a roller coaster ride. So it's been a lot.
But you got such a great attitude, such a great spirit.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that, Mike.
You really
It's
do.
all because of my relationship with Jesus.
Yeah, what if somebody said you're crazy? They don't believe that. What would you say?
If somebody said I was crazy,
You don't believe that? I mean, the naysayers, like Tammy just talked about naysayers. Because you've got the conviction, I know you do. You know, how do you, when people that aren't believers, that they see what you've experienced and how you've overcome this. I mean, it's not some pill you took. It's not some class you took. You give it up to the Lord, don't you?
well, I base it on the scripture in Revelations where it says they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the words of their testimonies.
Yes.
And so my biggest asset, I believe, is to share my testimony, to share my story. That will have more impact than anything else, because I'm not philosophizing about it.
Yes.
I actually went through this where I've
Amen.
had all this devastating loss. So
Yep.
I can really minister to people who are going through, various trials and tribulations, and even count it a joy because we know
Amen.
that nothing happens to us.
I talk about strange coincidences, synchronicities. I shared this at the chamber the other day. She bought my son's house. We sold it way too cheap, by the way. We really did.
$200,000
But I happened to be talking to her. This is like 6 or 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
I just said, "Hey, my son's thinking about putting a house. We're thinking about selling the house. We're going to sell it ourselves, and not with that, and save that 6%." And she's I'm looking for a place, and Lord lined it up. Let me tell you what happened. You believe in synchronicity, don't you, Philip?
Sure.
Look at you. All right. Hey, because you are a believer.
I am.
You attend World Outreach.
I do.
The mega church.
Yes.
Okay. Anyways, all due respect to Pastor Jackson. Just today, let me tell you how the Lord blessed me. Told my wife, I want to go into Marshall's, wanted to get some cologne. And man, I walked in, this place was packed. Mm-hmm. Stood in line, happened to see somebody I know. Well, anyways, got a pretty good deal, put it that way.
Okay.
The person's in line, and I'm like, I told my wife, what's the odds of that person being in line with that crowd? I know most people, that's just coincidental. No. You know what's so cool about her story here? Tell them about what happened with the crosses and the Bibles.
Oh, yes. Even the building just blew up, and then it just busted into flames. It was so bad that we actually had to go to Smyrna and even Nashville to get the fire trucks. But every chair that was iron, it turned to ashes or whatever, the whole pulpit, everything, but not one Bible, not one cross.
Yes.
And not even the wooden pulpit was burnt or even had a burnt.
Is that
mark
not
on
cool?
Wow.
What a testimony.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
That is. And then that other group reached out to you where you're at now.
Oh,
right?
yes. Our building burnt up, the whole church, and it just so happened that a young lady that worked down the street at Skyline Exhibitors, she saw the fire and what we were going through, and she actually called me the next day and said that I talked to my boss, I saw what happened to you all, and if you all want to come down there and stay for 6 months free.
Yes.
And then after that, if you want to stay there, you can. So that was just, God, how all that
Amen.
came together. Absolutely. So that's how we ended up.
And that's community.
Yeah.
That's community.
And that's but that's what Laverne is all about.
Yeah.
Laverne is a very tight knit community, and this is such a great opportunity
for
Laverne to have the Classical Academy here in Laverne, Tennessee. So I've been talking to a number of the parents, and the community just really excited about this. So we just got to make sure that the word gets out so that they can know about the Classical Education Academy of Rutherford County. And there's a series of parent information events. Now, I just told Philip I was just going to cite one, but he said they're going to be happening all through the week.
There are actually 4 this week.
So I'm going to let him
4?
share.
Yes.
Really? Wow.
So I'll say what they are, but again, go to rutherfordclassical.org, because every month I put up a series at the public libraries and other institutions here. But this week on Wednesday at 5:30 we'll be at Linebaugh Public Library. And then on Thursday at 3:30 we'll be at Laverne Public Library. And then on Friday at 3 o'clock we'll be at Smyrna Public Library. And then on Saturday at 11:30 a.m. we'll be at Laverne Public Library. So plenty of opportunities, and basically what that is it's a bit of a presentation. Most people, it's me kind of unpacking our work and what a classical education is, but it's a great place to ask me questions. You'll find them quite transparent. Parents have lots of questions. I'm more than willing to answer those questions. I always kind of put that out there. I mean, I've been a public educator for almost 30 years, so I have plenty of stuff I can talk about in the charter schools, larger school systems. It's just really an opportunity to learn about the school, everything from how it works, all the questions that parents have, like location and safety, and do you have before and after care, which we do. You can drop your kids off at 7 or pick them up at 6, those types of things, making it more, especially with what you're talking about with all the traffic.
How does that work? Let's hit that real quick, because that's child care is such a huge issue.
Yeah, so what happens is basically you can drop your child off as early as 7 and pick them up at 6. It's at a cost, but I make it as small as I can. It really just pays for itself. It's not a surplus for the school. So if there's a strong demand, obviously the cost gets really low.
Do you feel like you're going to be able to, as far as the workforce, you'll be able to find the teachers and assistants to be able to handle it?
Yeah, I don't have any doubt that we'll have the personnel to do these things. But yeah, no, that just allows parents, I mean, obviously where we are, there's a lot of commuters that are going up and down the corridor there, being able to drop their children off at, 7.
Have you been able to reach out to the large employers over there? There's IC, Ingram Book, Lightning Source.
Yeah, it's not something I've had a lot of conversation around at this time, but in what capacity?
Cardinal, in fact, Cardinal Health was in my office this week. Well, it was an employee of Cardinal advocating for the Alzheimer's Association, sweet lady. But Cardinal, huge employer right there across the street, Ingram, and I mean, one thing that Laverne, that I've always bragged on is, man, it's an economic engine for Middle Tennessee.
Sure.
That whole mile radius or 2 mile radius where this Bridgestone, and other companies over there.
Yes.
So this event that I see on the flyer is Saturday, April 13th. That's the one you're highlighting, Laverne Public Library, 11:30.
Make sure you note, from 11:30 to 1 o'clock.
And they can find you on Facebook.
Yeah, we have a Facebook page as well, American Classical Academy Rutherford. There's a lot of ways. My email address is available on that. You can email me anything. I'm more than transparent. Believe me, I take a lot of emails, so I've been taking a lot of time to write back to parents and make sure they're clear in this process as they're registering or enrolling. If you would like to enroll for the school, you can also go to that same website, rutherfordclassical.org, and there's an Enroll Now button that if you hit that, then you can, it's a pretty simple process, less than 10 minutes, you can apply to come in. And right now we still have seats, K-5.
What's going to happen? What's the limit right now as far as student body?
So the agreement with RCS, Rutherford County Schools, is 340 year one, K-5.
340, okay.
And then we can add 50 students per year and a grade.
Well, how do you work it out if you get just an influx of second graders applying, and then you've got, it's kind of lopsided where more first graders or third graders?
Yeah, so we could address that as long as we have 340 students or less. That's what the agreement is.
Okay, it doesn't have to be broke up evenly with grades.
There's kind of the ideal. So we wanted, if you look at it like on a piece of paper, it's K2, 3 sections of 20, so 60, 60, 60. And then if you look 3 through 5, it's 25 with 2 sections. So you have 50, 50, 50. But it doesn't have to look like that. Like we just got all second graders. You could literally have a school of 340 second graders. The point is you can't, 340 is kind of the top of what we can do, but I can mess with the sections and schedules depending on what the need is.
Yes.
And you always see that. Like, so for right now, the K2-3 are the fastest growing right now in our school.
Is it? Yeah.
The others are growing as well, just not as fast. We can manipulate that number as long as it's 340 year 1, 390 year 2. 440 the next year. We max out at about 690.
Now, if any
students.
school teachers are listening or someone wanting to apply as far as job opportunity,
they can go to the same
site.
website, and there's a link that says careers. Just
Okay.
send me an email, basically say your interest, and we can talk.
You
about
know, this week, well, I think it was this week, maybe last week on the House floor, Tennessee General Assembly, I don't know what made me share it, but, I visited a juvenile correctional facility a couple of times, and we're trying to implement the game of chess for critical thinking.
Sure.
And shout out to Rob Mitchell. Like I was telling the chamber, I said, if you got a better idea, let me hear what it is, And when Rob first started talking to me about this, I really didn't take it that seriously. Chess, what's chess going to make a difference? I'm old school. I believe bring the paddle out and just bust these kids' tails like what happened to me. And all my educators were my favorite teachers. I mean, even the school superintendent paddled me, Mr. Odom, and I loved Mr. Odom. Everybody, Paula Barnes, if people know Miss Paula Barnes, and it helped me. Maybe that it's not the toolbox people want to use today with all the political correctness, but I was talking to a young man, and you could tell at the juvenile detention facility. I mean, the barbed wire fence 20 feet high, and he was just by himself, not saying much. And I walked over and I got talking to him, and I was like, hey man, we got this idea about implementing the game of chess and school system. And that kid looked up at me, perked up real quick, and said, I know how to play chess. I said, you do? And he was like, yeah. And I said, do you think it's a good idea? He said, oh yeah, I think it's a good idea. And he says, it was really interesting. He said, will you pray with me? I was surprised. Juvenile detention facility. And I was like, yeah. And he asked me, I feel bad because I didn't see him. I didn't get to go back till about 4 months later. I think he's already back in his released. And he said, you going to come back and see me? I was like, yeah. And I didn't get a chance to go back. I did go back 2 weeks ago. I didn't see him. But we did mail some chess sets over there, and the correctional officer had been playing chess with the guys. And because I heard the guys say, yeah, man, you beat me the other day. Let me ask you critical thinking skills, because that's something that seems like we've got to address with the youth. How does this charter school be able to help these young minds to think for themselves and think critically and make better decisions in life?
Well, I mean, that's kind of the core of our work. I mean, we actually teach logic in the 9th grade. Yes. And so the setup for that, you can imagine. The kids start taking Latin in the 6th grade, doing groups of Latin and Greek early. And language, that's about language, and language is how we culturally understand things.
Yes.
By studying Latin, you get kids to start recognizing that words have meaning, and there's reason in that. There's a reason why we have to be able to communicate and make sure that we're speaking the same language. So when you start getting into reasoning, I put the two together with compassion. We're trying to train a group of people that come out being able to think freely, think reasonably, and think compassionately. I think it's one of the things as adults we're kind of lacking, frankly, in our society today.
Oh, amen.
We've gotten to the point that we can't even have a disagreement without it turning into I hate you.
Tell me about it. I see it in Nashville all the time.
So
it's just, but it's like I see a lot of grown adults that act like little 7th graders. Like I had one person, I'm not going to say his name, and I like the guy. He was mad at another lawmaker, and I said, he used some bad words, and I said, man, you got to chill, brother. What are you getting all upset about? He said, well, he said something about me on Twitter the other day. I was like, dude, if I worried about what somebody said about me, I'd be in the fetal position, sucking my thumb, having a mental health breakdown. You just got to learn to roll with it. But I call it butt hurt. Butt hurt's real. People get butt hurt and they can't have a conversation, and really it's really a threat to our republic, because if you can't have a discussion about childhood behavior or solutions, whether it's housing, traffic, too many apartments, taxation, how do we solve problems?
Yeah, so I mean, along with logic, we teach rhetoric, which is about persuasion. It's how do you talk to somebody and persuade them, and compassionately, not just with reason, and have a conversation that goes back and forth as you seek what is true and good.
Yes.
I think that's where we've kind of lost sight in our society, trying to find meaning in our conversations. So even you started with like chess. I mean, kids love that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be shocked with, it's not even chess. I mean, even my last school, the kids loved fencing.
Fencing,
which it came out of nowhere. But the thing is if you think about stuff like skill sets and being reasoned and thinking through things and having like an agenda of how you're going to take on a sword fight, basically.
Wow.
In the same way, it's kind of like when you look at chess. It's the same element. Human beings like order.
Yeah.
They like things to make sense. And if you give them the opportunity to think through these things freely, it moves into a situation where you start having conversation that is reasonable conversation.
Yeah.
But you have to introduce kids to that, and I think that means you have to put adults in front of them that are those things as well, that are good and reasonable.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely part of our work. It's getting these things defined for kids to be thinking about what is good and true and beautiful, and that's at the core of what classical education is.
Yes. To recap, the next meeting, Laverne.
Well, it actually be in
April
Linebaugh
3rd.
on Wednesday.
Linebaugh Library.
Yes.
Wednesday. Okay.
Yep.
American Classical Education finds you on Facebook.
Yes.
And 11:30 April 13th. At Laverne Public Library. Thank you so much. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Brennan.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you all so much, and thank you for having us.